Hello, everyone. Nathan and Alan here. We are your Hill Brothers, and today is something that we have been wanting to do ever since we started this channel. Today, we're joined by, if you've been on North Carolina Twitter and you keep an eye on anything over there, and you probably if you see any of the broadcasts that happen, especially during the baseball time, you have saw this man right here in between us, Jeff Blackwood. Good to see you, brother. You are the North Carolina super fan, the power of positivity on Twitter. Win or loss, you're going to say go Hills and good luck to our team and the next team, man. Thank you for coming out here, brother.
I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate y'all. No, um, it was a cool idea when y'all approached me a couple weeks ago and asked me if I'd do it. I thought of that. And I was like, yeah. Number one, I don't like the sound of my own voice, so I don't know if I'll listen to this back. But
that's okay.
I mean, I'll check out the first little bit, then I'll turn it off because it's. But no, I appreciate it. No, I love Carolina. It's top to bottom, not just the athletic program, the school. I just love everything, and I hope that comes across. And I try to always be positive. We have some rough times; things don't necessarily go so well. You know, football right now, we're all kind of oh man, where we at? But
yeah,
hey, I mean, for our part, just be as loud as we can be, as supportive as we can be, and hey, as any athletes, I tell my youngest daughter, who goes to a lot of Carolina stuff with me now, is a volleyball player now, and I just tell her, it's sportsmanship. Number one is most important. Be a good sport, winner, loser, whatever, but support it. So that's what I try to do.
Absolutely, man. And dude, we're so excited to have you. We want to break down where this enthusiasm, where this love, where it all comes from. If I remember correctly, you're a 1995 grad from the University of North Carolina, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
And where did this all start, man? Like where did it come from? Were you a Carolina fan at young, or did it happen just in college?
I grew up. I actually grew up in the area. When I was born, my parents actually lived on a horse farm with a couple friends of theirs in Carborough when I was born. And I was born in a hospital, and I was born at Watts Hospital in Durham, which isn't a hospital anymore. It's actually the School of Math and Science now. But I was born there in Durham. Moved to Durham shortly after that. My grandparents, on both sides, both my parents were from Durham, so they were from this area. They were just big Carolina fans. Both my parents were big Carolina fans. They were in the Rams club when I was younger, so I can remember at a relatively young age going to football. I don't really. It's weird because I have so much. Like childhood memory stuff. I just don't remember. It's crazy. I'm like that. And it hasn't, and it's been like that. It's not because I'm freaking over 50 years old now. My memory's just gone. It's just stuff I've never. There's just parts of things I just don't remember. But I remember going to football games in Keenan Stadium when I was, I think the first memories I have is when I was 7, almost 8, the 1981 season. The 1981 season was the first season I really remember a few things from that season, and there's a couple games and moments that are just kind of burned in my mind. But it was my parents. It's just my parents loved Carolina, and they would go. Like I said, we went to the games, and the few of those years, the 79, 80, 81, 82 type stuff when we were in bowl games. They tell me that they left me with my grandparents and they went to the games, and they traveled to the Gator Bowl and the Blue Bonnet Bowl one year, stuff like that. So I didn't go to those, but it's all my parents. It's just my parents, and I kind of took it to another level. I think so, I mean, it's fun. I mean, I love the school so much. I love everything about it so much. So
absolutely, dude.
The power of positivity. How do you stay so positive, especially during the downtime? And do you have a room, like a small closet in your house that you just go in so nobody hears you, nobody sees you, and you just like
You know, and I'll tell you this, it bothered. I'm not perfect. I'm not. The downtimes bother me. I get mad. I get mad like any other fan. I really do. I'm past the point in my life where I break stuff now. I've been over. I've I broke remote controls and cordless telephones over the years. Have taken big time L's at my house. At big time L's at my house as I was growing up. And I still, dude, I still get mad. Nobody wants to lose. But here's the thing. If you go at any point in time when things aren't going well, players look at this stuff. Their families look at this stuff on social media. It's no fan takes it as hard and as serious as the players do. They're beating themselves up. It doesn't mean we can't say, dude, you're not doing a good job, but they're kicking themselves because this is what these guys and girls are trying to do for a career in some aspects. Mm-hmm. Some of them want to go pro. They're trying to, and even the ones that are not, they're invested. They're athletes. They're D1 athletes. They're invested. They want to win. They know it's going bad. They're beating themselves up. They don't need Jeff Blackwood to sit there and say, dude, you're trash. Dude, you suck. What are you doing? It serves no purpose. In my mind, it serves no purpose. It doesn't mean that I'm not. I see some people say sometimes, well, you're unrealistic. You don't realize it. No, I realize that, sometimes there are situations where things need to change, be it a coaching situation and stuff like that. We've heard that over the last couple of years in a few different sports. It's not that that's just my thing is I want the student athletes to know that, hey, I'm here. I'll support you. I'm down. I'm ride or die. The coaching changes and those decisions, they're not mine. They're above my pay grade. Fans can make as much noise as they want to, but the administration's still going to do what they want to do. What I say doesn't matter. What I can do is let those athletes know that I support you. Get ready for the next one. And congrats to the team that beat us, because you got to give them credit for that stuff too. And that's part of the sportsmanship aspect that I talked about before with my daughter that I really stress now that she's playing sports. So it's one of those things. It's tough. I mean, again, I get mad. I do. I do get mad just like everybody else. I just choose to internalize that a little more and put the positivity out there for the athletes especially. And if it rubs off on some of the fans, cool. It makes some fans mad. I mean, I've had people and I'll respond, to whatever it is, and I have a typical stuff, you look at it, my thing, and it's, keep working and get ready for the next one. And I've had some Carolina fans reply back to that in whatever sport going, oh man, they're trash. Oh, they suck. And I'm like, okay. And I don't reply because it's not worth my effort to reply or to let them raise my blood pressure at all. So
right, just post and ghost, baby. Post and ghost.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. I mean, again, it's most important to me to let the athletes know that, it's, go keep going, keep digging. I got your back. I'm here. Just keep working. That's all they can do. They know they're having bad games, and just like any athlete, if you played any kind of sport growing up, and I didn't, I wrestled in high school. I didn't junior high and high school, didn't go past that with any sport. But, I know, I had that. I know how it feels. And I know you got to keep working. So
those are some life lessons right there, though. That's pretty awesome, dude. And I'm kind of curious to see now, like, not only do you put that power of positivity, but you are seemingly at just like every event known to man that is North Carolina. I think if they played chess, you would be there rooting them on with like your cooler, like tailgating outside.
I'd go at least once to try. I'd at least go once to try.
Exactly.
I might not go back.
Start, dude. Did you do it while you were in college and then it carried over? Or is this something that you kind of picked up over the last few years or something?
It's really been. I will admit I didn't do as much for every sport as I could have or should have probably when I was in school. Um, when I was in school, I was just trying to find the next party, man. I was trying to find the next party, be it in the dorm that we were throwing or some on frat court or whatever. I was just trying to find the next party. I mean, I did just the typical stuff, you know. I'd go to, always football, the basketball when you could get the tickets. Like I said, I tried to hit some stuff. I did some baseball. Lacrosse, soccer, the wrestling. Like I said, volleyball a couple times because my roommate had a friend that played. But no, it really, the football has been the constant. The football for a sport I've attended. I mean, the football's been the thing that I've done, and I didn't have season tickets for a long time because we had friends, and I was lucky enough to be able to get tickets. So I never bought tickets because we could get them. I should have at least minimum supported the Rams club long before I started. That I'll admit. And if anybody's listening who's not a member of the Rams club, even if you don't go to games, throw your 100 or whatever it is in and support it because it builds up and it adds up, and you can reap some benefits of it later, maybe. But I wish I'd done that. That's one thing. I joined in the Rams club earlier than I did. I wish I had, but I always looked at it as well. If I'm not getting tickets, why do I want to do it? And in today's world, especially, it's not. It's even more important to be part of that, even if you're not necessarily getting tickets for everything. It's just started going, man. It was just going to the things, and then it started adding up. It was the season of football, and then I've purchased my own season football for like 15 now. I think this is year 16. Baseball probably for 7-ish. And I didn't really start going to baseball all the time until a buddy of mine actually moved down here into Durham, into the area, and then he got season tickets. So now I was like, well, I'm gonna get them too. So I started doing that too. So it kind of fed on. Wrestling, I've always, like I said, wrestling. I wrestled growing up in junior high and high school. But I never, part of me didn't like the hassle of when I was younger. I didn't go to these things because I didn't necessarily like the hassle of going and didn't feel like being bothered. Because even when I was, younger, I was still on the weekends. I'm not talking about going to a game other than football because any other night I want to go to a bar. I want to go to Franklin Street and drink.
Yeah. So,
but, now especially, and so it's kind of built. It's just built. It's something that I decided, hey, it's fun. I like supporting the teams and being out there and being in the stands and seeing stuff. And as my youngest daughter, I got 2 daughters. My youngest daughter is the one that likes sports. My oldest, we connect. My oldest is doesn't like sports, but she and I connect with music because we both love music, so we have that connection. My youngest daughter, though, being the one that she does play some sports, she likes sports, and she got in. A couple of years ago, we actually had gone to. I think it might have been when Coach Brown had the open practice. The open football practice. I can't remember.
A couple of years ago.
It was. And I can't remember. See, I can't remember if it was the open practice or the spring game that year. But
yeah,
a group of us actually got out there and tailgated in the bell tower deck at 6 a.m. And so we were there, and we actually whichever one of those it was, be it the spring practice or be it the open practice or just the spring game.
Was it rainy that day?
Not this particular one. This was before that. This was before the rainy. This was before the rainy one. Because I know the one you're talking about. This was before the rainy one. My Carolina we played Duke that weekend in baseball at home. Uh-huh. My wife and my oldest daughter were out of town. My youngest daughter at the time, she's almost 16 now. So she was like 12 or whatever. She couldn't stay home. So she had to get up with me at 5 o'clock and go with me Go with me. She slept. We were tailgating in the bell tower deck at the top level. She's in the back of my truck sleeping, and we played Duke. And that afternoon, we played Duke in baseball. And she went with me. You know, we were going to the Duke. We went going to the baseball game because we had season tickets. And I'd already started getting season tickets at that time. So she went with me. And she fell in love with going to Carolina baseball at that point. It was actually probably Vance Honeycutt's fault because she fell in love with Vance, which is really what I should say. But at that point, it was like she was. But even so, I mean, she was like, oh, she's hooked. So it's become now. It's become now a bonding experience with her and I as much as anything else.
That's
and
awesome.
now she's full bore, loves Carolina. Like I said, she's a huge Carolina volleyball fan. Obviously, she plays volleyball. She's got a favorite player that is a senior this year, Sadie Swift, that she's made a sign for and had her picture taken with her. And, you know, I don't know what she's going to do when Sadie graduates next year, but that's another story. She'll be heartbroken. But yeah, now it's turned into a bonding experience with her. And she'll go to, you know, we hit every volleyball we can. The during the week games, and right now because she plays volleyball, and then later as we get a little bit later in the season, her club volleyball season is going to kick up, and so that screws up Sunday games for us. It also we get messed up earlier in the baseball season. We miss a lot of Sunday games because she has club volleyball practices on Sundays or tournaments, depending on what. So, but yeah, it's a bonding experience with us now. She'll, like I said, everything, volleyball especially, baseball especially. She'll go to wrestling with me, but it's not her favorite. She prefers they not wear the singlets. We tried out. We actually the team actually tried out shorts and t-shirt jerseys last year at one of the meets we were there, and she loved those. She was like, "Yes, I like those. Stop wearing the singlets. Those are uncomfortable for me to look at." I'm like, all right. So, but it's just now it's a bonding experience, and I've been able to transfer that love to her, and now she loves it. And so it's cool. It's a bonding thing. It's a dad and daughter thing. She's not going to be here forever. Like I said, she's 16 almost.
Right.
She's a sophomore in high school. You know, she still likes being around her dad, which is a crazy thing because I think a lot of kids getting towards that age are like, nah, stay away from me.
Right. Yeah.
But she still likes being around me. So if I can get her to go stuff with me, that's great. You know, and we try to dabble in. I at least try to catch with her one of everything else too in a season. So she at least gets to see everything. But yeah, I mean, I'll admit there's a lot of the other ones I don't hit a lot of stuff for. There are people that are at there are Carolina fans on Twitter that are at every single thing. And I'm not that, but I am at every one I can be. And, you know, it started out for my own self, and now it's just a bonding thing with her. So
that's awesome. And real quick, I just want a quick follow up because you talked about tailgating a lot. I mean, you saw the tailgating scene, especially North Carolina football. I'm kind of zeroing in on here, but you saw the tailgating scene over the last all these years. What do you think about now that Carolina's spending some money into it?
I think it helps. You know, I think having the stuff that they have, you know, by the bell tower and doing what they do there, that stuff's great.
Right.
You know, I like the fact that they're doing more to try to get engaged. I've had I tailgate right off Franklin Street, behind Franklin Street in a law office, in our office building parking lot. And we've done that for the group I've done that with has done that for, we started across the street and then moved over, and it's been 15-ish years, 10 years, something like that, at least. So, you know, we have our spot, and that's great. And, you know, I know a lot of people use the Friday Center, and then, you know, you got people down in bowls, and that's great. But I like the fact that they're trying to do stuff to get people engaged and around the stadium and trying to up the ante on the atmosphere. Because, you know, we don't have the best parking situation around campus the way things are. I mean, and you know, we like to talk about, you know, you like to talk about the football in the forest, to borrow the title from Lee Pace, you know, his book. We like to talk about how beautiful it is with the trees and stuff and nestled. That comes with a price, right? Because, you know, our campus is the way it is. And there's just no room. I mean, in whatever room we do have on campus, they're doing something with the hospital, expanding the hospital. So, anything they can do, I think is great. But the other thing that when I say that is, if you really pay attention, you can find other places. There's not. It might be a mile walk, because I think our walk is like just under a mile one way. It's not a bad walk, but there are places like that where you can park, and there are places that you can find to get around. You just got to kind of ask around and stuff. It's there, it's not in the, we don't have a big old field like some other schools do, to do. So we have to make do with what we got. But it's getting better. But you can find the places. I wish it was. I mean, I wish we had an open place. I wish we had an open place, but I also want it to be on campus so that it's easily, The other thing is where we park. We don't have to deal with it's parking in and out. Well, in's not a problem because we're always there early. I mean, it's 8 o'clock at the latest in the tailgate lot, and if it's a noon game, it's probably going to be 6 just to have more time. But so
wow,
I'll be there at 8. I'll be there at 8 I'll be there at 8 on Saturday. So
yeah.
So graduating in 95, that means you were on campus for the 93 championship, right?
Yeah.
What was that like? Just being on campus for a national championship.
It's cool for one of the main sports, because you got to consider. I mean, we were running women's soccer at that time, but you didn't. But you didn't. Nobody rushed Franklin Street for that. Probably, as great as that team has been over the years, we probably should have. It was cool. It was it was actually the back half of my sophomore year, so I was still in a dorm. I lived in Carmichael, across from Keenan, my freshman and sophomore year, and then I lived off campus in Kingswood Apartments my junior and senior year. But it was the back half of my sophomore year, so I was in Carmichael, and we watched it. I lived on the 6th floor. We watched it in the little common area on TV, and then took off for Franklin Street. And it was raining that night, so I was not feeling great the next day because got rained on, and I know I had a Carolina sweatshirt that had Carolina blue paint on it, which I kept for a long time, and through a couple moves, it's gotten lost now finally, which I'm kind of mad about, because that was always cool to have that, because I had that sweatshirt that said North Carolina on it, and had the blue paint all over the arms and everything. I don't know who was throwing blue paint, but somebody was. It was cool. I mean, it was cool. Anybody, I mean, yeah. And I've, since then, I mean, I remember, well, obviously I wasn't on campus and I was young, but I remember the 82, but the 93 was really special, just because that was, again, like I said, like you said, I was there. So I got to see it. I got to rush Franklin and kind of be in that madness. So it was cool.
Awesome,
I think I forget the stat, and it came out. I've actually got it bookmarked on Twitter, but it's like every 4-year freshman since like 77, that started since 77, has been on campus for like at least one title of some sport at Carolina. That's an incredible stat. That's an incredible stat. And that far surpasses, you think about basketball. Basketball's been a tiny portion of that. Again, it's the big money making sport. Man, to come close to anything in football. I mean, it's, so hopefully one day maybe we're getting there. We'll see.
I can only hope.
Dude,
if
Carolina goes to the playoffs, I'm going to every game. Every game, I'm telling you. I will hoop and holler and we'll come back with no voice. I'll have like the electronic deal. I'm telling you, man.
Like I said, I mean, it was as cool as you can imagine it would be. Honestly, I would say probably just to be there for that and be on campus and be in class, have classes with some of the guys on the team, and that was always cool. It was always cool to walk in each beginning of each semester, to walk in and see who was in your class, especially if it was a footballer or a basketball player that most people knew who they were. It was always cool to see who you got, if you got any of them. Yes, they went to class.
Oh, jeez. Yes, NCAA. They went to class.
They went to class. Oh
I
man.
will say I took an AFAM class and I had to go to class. So, and that's all I'll say about that. But
Uh,
Dude, so okay, who's the coolest player or the most well-known player of any sport that you shared a classroom with?
I had geology. I had geology 101 or whatever it was. With George Lynch and Brian Reese, which was cool.
That's a
So
good one.
Nice.
I think
George Lynch.
I think I had I mean, and there were others, you know, like I said, I just ones that stand out. I mean, I know I had a class with I think I had a film theory class with Serge Swicker. Right after he apparently had an accident on his bike, which was funny. Just to hear him explain to what happened to whatever. We had, and there was another teammate in the class. I don't remember who it was, to be honest. But yeah, Serge came into class, all his knee was scraped up or something, and the guy they asked him what happened, and you know, and his accent, which I won't try to do. You know, he explained that he had a collision with a automobile with his bicycle.
Oh, jeez.
Just a little scratch on his knee or something. His knee was scratched up or something. But,
That's pretty cool, though.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, and I wish when you asked that question, now I wish I'd probably paid more attention or remembered more than I do. Because again, I talk about not remembering a lot of my childhood. There's a lot of, I mean, my memories are spotty. You know, like I said, I was looking for the next party a lot of the time. So.
Hey, that's fine.
Dude, you've got some memories. That is for sure. I'll definitely say that. Real quick, and I'll let Alan ask another question here. But have you been to Ben and Jerry since Seth Trimble got it?
I have not.
Oh man, I want to go.
No.
I'm going to be there Saturday, and I thought about going up there.
I have not. Yeah, like you know, we're just. I mean, our tailgate spot is just down behind, so it's an easy short walk to pop up there. I'm gonna have to do that at least, but you know, I'm gonna have to do that sooner rather than later because that's a cool story too, man. That's just like
it is.
That's NIL, and hey, man, I'm gonna do something. That's
and Armando cool. With hotels. Armando doing the same thing with hotels.
Armando with hotels. I forgot. I'm glad you said. I'd completely forgotten about that, but yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. So it just, I mean, it shows the guy. It shows that some folks have those aspirations and want to do something with it and get into business. And do something. So that's kind of cool. Right. It's better than the stories of people that you might hear of people wasting the money and blowing it or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, you keep talking about these tailgates. I want to know, what is a tailgate like with Jeff Blackwood?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm not fancy. I'm a minimalist when it comes to tailgating. I really just need my a few snacks.
Go-to snacks.
A few snack. Go-to snack for tailgating is beef jerky.
My dog.
We could tailgate.
My dog. That's not something you'd hear most people say.
I love
my go-to snack if I've got to have something for tailgate is beef jerky. I'll have at least a big bag of beef jerky. You know, over the years, though, I've tailgated with people that will cook, and that's cool. I'll put in, I'll contribute. I'll give them some money. I'm kind of a no nonsense. I don't like the hassle of the Blackstone and the grill and all that other stuff. You give me a speaker and some music, my phone with some music, and I don't even need a chair. I'll sit on the back of my tailgate most of the time. I don't even break out a chair usually. I tent occasionally if it's raining or whatever, but my tents always break. I don't have good luck with tents. So, in fact, I have to get a new tent because we broke the tent out last week and we hadn't used it. Buddy of mine and I, we hadn't used the tent since Wilkesboro. We had gone up to the All-Star race at Wilkesboro, and the tent was fine that whole weekend. And we pulled the tent out of the bag. The other Monday. And two of the braces up on it are freaking broken. And I'm like,
Uh,
they weren't broken when we put it up. They're broken now. So, and the tent before that year before last in Wilkesboro, we had a real bad storm come through, and it just smashed everything to heck. I'm like, picked the tent up, hit the side of my truck, dented the side of my truck, threw the tent over the truck.
Jesus.
They had a bunch of, there was that, like I said, it wasn't this past year, it was the year before last. There was a big, strong storm of straight line winds come through. And it tore up. I mean, it was tearing up people's tents. There were videos that came out the next day of the track worker of people coming through, and before the parking lot opened that Sunday, because I think this was on a Saturday afternoon, before the track opened on Sunday, the parking lots, they had to clean out the tents, and it was like just a war zone of broken tents, canopy tents, just laying there that had gotten crushed and bent. Yeah, I mean, it bent mine and flipped it over the truck. So I don't have love for tent, but I could have it. But not all that to say, I'm not the extravagant tailgate person. I'm not the guy that, they had something. There's something going around now about, I think it's with the Rams. I don't know if it's Rams Club or whatever, but I saw it the other day about, give us, we want to hear your best tailgate recipes. I'm not that guy.
Open the bag, eat the beef jerky.
If you want gourmet food, that's just not going to be me. I'm going to have music. I'll have some beef jerky. Other than that, it's the occasional protein drink mixed in with some water and some beer, and that's what you got. So.
Protein
favorite NASCAR race driver.
No, see, I like to work out, so I do have to make sure I'm getting some protein throughout the day. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to mix the water in too. So I try to get better at that. 50, almost 52. I'll be 52 years old later this month, and at some point I might grow out of it, but I don't think so. I enjoy it too much. So, favorite NASCAR driver? You said?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Currently Chase Elliott. I was an Earnhardt guy, so it was senior and then junior. Senior and then junior, and Chase is one of those legacy guys. I mean, that's he's one of the guys. His dad has been there. He's a legacy guy, and he's a Chevy, and I'm a Chevy guy too. So,
I was always a Gordon fan.
I actually came to appreciate Gordon. I was like a lot of guys, that you either liked Gordon or you hated him, and there was no in between.
Mm-hmm.
And I was, I was that guy. I was that guy for a long time, and then, you start, you get a little older, you start to realize, hey, especially after Junior joined, after his stepmom completely screwed up DEI, and he joined Hendrick. That's when I kind of got the appreciation. I was like, all right, he's a teammate. Jeff Gordon's not that bad. But people, and it's been said before, I think, but people that loved Earnhardt and hated on Gordon, I don't know if how many of them realized that they had business ventures together. They were friends.
Yeah.
They had stuff together. They were friends, but NASCAR is just one of those sports too, it's diehard.
It is.
You got guys you can't stand, you got guys you love. And again, I don't go to as many races as I used to with that. That's one of those things that I don't do as much anymore. So maybe I'll get back into it.
I honestly quit following NASCAR the day Gordon retired.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, I tell people this kind of goes back. This pulls back into the Carolina thing, but I'll say if anybody ever asked me about NBA, for instance, I quit really following the NBA when Michael finally retired.
Yeah.
And now I don't watch. I keep up with what our pro heels are doing. I like to do that. I don't have a favorite team. I don't have a favorite team. I just, whoever's whatever teams our guys are on, and just wanting them to do well. But I always you say that, and I could tie it back to Carolina because I've said that. Anybody that's asked me, I've said that since Michael retired the final time. I don't follow it. I don't have a favorite team. I just kind of keep up for the Carolina in it.
Yeah, 2018 for me, that did it for me in the NBA, basically. But speaking of pro heels, I'm really sad that my Rams let Willie Lampkin go to the Philadelphia Eagles. That was such an idiotic move. But anywho, just issues. I can't stand it.
Yeah,
he did so good.
He did, and he's one of those guys. I'm not, as much as I love football. As much as I love football, I'm not a huge X's and O's guy. I'm not somebody that's going to break down plays like crazy. I've got a few friends that are really, really good at that, and I kind of hear what they say and I'll take that because I can't do it. But Willie, it just seemed like to me that I don't know, there was a lot of hang up with his size, and I don't know if that was what it wound up being. He was so short and everything, but. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you can play, you can play, right?
I mean, Jeff Saturday,
and you got to look at Jeff. Yeah, I mean, if you can play, you can play. Jeff had a heck of a career.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
long time. But okay. I'm going back to Carolina. I'm curious. In your opinion, to you, I want to know one game that you think was like the coolest game that you've ever attended for any reason whatsoever. It can be any sport, no matter what. And also your most disappointing game that you've ever been to.
That's a cool one.
I'm gonna start bringing out some of that inner beast Jeff's got here.
Oh man, I'll tell you the coolest game. The coolest game was probably the basketball against Florida State. The 17, I think, what was it, 17-point comeback second half. That was the coolest. That was what year was that? 93 maybe. Somebody will cook me if I'm wrong on it. Somebody will hear over. We were down. It was when I was here. I was sitting up in the freaking next to the last row, probably behind one of the baskets, because they love to stick students back there, right? That comeback in that game when we were down like 17 in the second half, and we finally get it back over top. I know people have said, I've heard it argued over what the loudest people have heard say they've heard the Smith Center before. Marvin Williams put back against Duke gets a lot of. I was there for that as well. To me, the loudest moment was when we finally took the lead against Florida State in what was it, 93, 94, whatever year it was. I'm sorry for not knowing that off the top of my head. Yeah, that to me was the loudest I've ever heard it, I think. And I still say that. I'll every once in a while, if I feel like somebody telling me I'm an idiot on Twitter, every once in a while, if that argument comes up, I'll throw that in there. And then inevitably somebody's like, "Hey, David, you're wrong." But, most of the time I try to stay out of that stuff on Twitter too.
You got it right, 93.
Was it 93? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the coolest. Because to me it was the coolest because, like I said, to me it's the loudest it's the loudest I've heard. The Smith Center, and I've been, Smith Center is one of those things. I've never had season basketball tickets. I've been lucky to have a friend of mine that I've, probably my oldest friend of mine that I've been friends with since 7th grade. Family is big Ram Club. And so I don't get to go every game, but do get to go a good number of games with him and get the good seats and, stand up and annoy some old people that sit down there and don't like people standing up.
So. I've been there. Yeah.
I love it, my guy. Yeah. Our most disappointing game you've ever been to.
I don't want to say that because other opposing fans are gonna, if they watch this, are gonna use it for fuel.
Especially with the power of positivity guy.
Yeah, you know what? I hate losing and everything. Obviously, I'm gonna call on something more recent for the most disappointing. Very recent, actually.
Oh, don't say it, because I'm pretty sure I was there.
If not, I think I was.
You know, I can pull any number. I mean, any game we lose to a rival, is a disappointing game. I've seen. I've been lucky enough to go to a lot of Carolina Duke basketball games, and I've seen their buzzer beaters, especially in the last 10-ish years or whatever. I've seen us lose on a few different buzzer beaters with them, and they were disappointing. But I also, and it's probably not a popular opinion, but Duke's no scrub. I respect it. Cook me if you want to. They're good. They're good. I don't like them, but they're good. My most disappointing, it's that daggone JMU game last year.
Oh, I was at that game.
It's letting them hang what they did on us last year. That's got to. And that's probably, yes, that's probably recency bias. But even so, that's
just kidding. It's okay.
I can't. I mean, when you give up that many points and you let them hang that on us, or when they hang that much on us, I won't say let them, because again, we were trying. It's not like we said, "Hey, do it." People will say, they'll probably argue the effort there, but no, again, that's where I pop in with the positivity. Our guys didn't want to lose. Our guys didn't want to give up that many points. They didn't want to lose at home to JMU, who is better than people give them credit for. Anybody that's followed sports knows that they're good. They shouldn't be hanging with a D1 with a Carolina. Nobody's going to argue that fact either, I don't think. That's kind of what makes it so damn disappointing. That, and there was a older. I say older because again, I'm early 50s, and the guy was older than me, and he was a couple rows behind me, and he was talking major trash, and I'd gotten just mad enough that I did have to turn around and tell him to shut up. And then he started jawing at me, and I just looked at my usher, our usher in our section. And I just looked, and he was standing there looking at me. I just looked at him, and I pointed to the guy. I said, and he looked at the guy and said, calm down, be quiet. You don't want to get into anything. So
see, I get to do that starting this week. I'm an usher for Carolina football.
Dude, so. I told you when you said that, when you said you did that, I think I commented. I did it, and I don't remember what year it was. It was probably the mid 2000s. I did it for 1 year because my father-in-law did football and basketball for over 30 years. And so I did it 1 year. It wasn't for me. That's not not to say that it's not cool, because it was kind of cool, but not being able to watch the game and having to, you got drunk people that you got to, you're in the wrong seat. No, you're stop cussing. You got people complaining about people, and maybe it's, it's not like that in every section. I must have had a bad section, because it was pretty horrid every game. I'll be honest with you. It was bad. It was bad. It just wasn't for me. But I've been lucky to have the seats I've had, because I've been ever since I've had season tickets. I've been in the same section, which is 109, and I've moved around in the section a little bit. But I've had an awesome usher. Actually, Had two. The first one we had is retired now. And he was, for the first couple of years, he would walk down, he would walk down to the bottom and come back up. And as he's coming back up, he's going, Usher's coming, put away your airplane bottles, hide your airplane bottles, the Usher's coming. And we all got a big laugh. And we're like, oh, Phil, ha, ha, ha. It was funny. The usher we have now, one of the ushers we have now has been there, is just awesome. Like I said, if I can look at him, like with the guy from JMU, and I'll look at him and he, he'll diffuse the situation. I ain't got to worry about it too much.
So. I actually be in 105, 106 this year. They told me.
Nice.
So it won't be too far down the line for me, but
Nice.
I thought you was going to say the most disappointing was the Virginia loss a couple years ago at 6-0, because that was my most. I hated that one for me because I was in that attendance for that game.
Yeah. Like I said, man, it's yeah. I mean, there's some that are probably more. There are probably some that are worse. It's. You always hear people are, oh, that's the worst loss in Carolina history. Oh, that's the worst. That's subjective. I mean, that's not that's something that everybody's got an opinion on. I don't think there's anything there's a definitive. There's no way that is. That's a matter of opinion. And I admit the JMU is a lot of that. Like I said, it's probably a little bit of recency bias because it's just right there in my head. But that was, yeah. There's like I said, and I've seen several Duke buzzer beaters that in basketball and in the Smith Center that will just rip your heart out. So.
Seth Curry, Jesus Christ,
Tatum,
Rivers,
yeah, that's one.
Wendell Moore put back and all this other stuff. I mean,
Zion and the ACC championship.
Yeah. The ACC championship up in DC year before last. Yeah, drove up for that one that day. Oh, man.
Was talked about. It was a conversation that was almost done. Like we did Boston. Like, hey man, let's just go to Boston. Okay, cool. We almost went to DC. Or it was.
I will say we sat beside. There was when we were at that game. First of all, we found a bar, and I don't even remember the name of the bar now. That's close to the place, but we got there early afternoon and kind of camped out at the bar. It just not far from the arena, and the bar was really cool. There were Carolina people coming in there. Met a few track athletes from Carolina from a few years ago that I kind of wowed because I started talking about track, and they were like, track? And I was like, yeah, kind of try to know everything if I can. So, but that was cool. And then we sat beside a guy and a girl at the game, and I think the guy was a Carolina fan and the girl was a State fan. They were cool. I mean, she was cool. I mean, hate to lose, but
really hate.
How close is the Diamond Hills to winning a national championship?
Man,
I really thought it was last year. I thought last year had a chance.
I did too, man. Oh my god!
And that's what I thought you was going to say. I thought you was going to say the Arizona Super Regional because I was there and it was heartbreaking.
Now that you say that, well, then I was actually in attendance for. Yeah, that would have been that one. I changed my answer. And not in attendance necessarily for, but changing my answer to most disappointing loss was, picking Oregon State loss in the CWS because they're the ones that always freaking knock us out when we get to the championship series. Yeah. Here's the thing, man. Baseball. My buddy and I talk about just how baseball is such a fickle sport, and I won't use. We use a different terminology, but it's very fickle. And that's the thing about it. It's so tough. It's just the little things here or there, that the team can be as good as you got, but a ball bounces the wrong way. You have
happened a lot.
And that's what I'm saying. I mean, ball bounce, you get a bad hop. It's just so hard. We've been so close, and I think we keep doing a great job with reloading on that end. And the portal, again, we talked about portal earlier. I think I was talking about portal and volleyball earlier. it really, we've done a great job with that, and we're as close as we've been, and we can do it. I mean, it's I think we will one day. I don't. You keep making the run at it, and except for maybe with apologies to Mike Martin, who down at Florida State, that you look at the numbers, and they showed it this year. I think Florida State has the record with 24 CWS appearances and never winning one.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they had one a couple of years ago, dude.
No, Florida State's 24, never won one. We're second. We're second with 12. Maybe tied with second, but we've got 12. We're the next highest. You keep putting yourself in the position. That's all you can do. So all you can do is keep putting yourself in the position. And we've got guys, we got guys that are coming in. The staff is doing an awesome job.
Yeah.
I mean, Coach Fox did awesome, and Coach Forbes now coming up. I mean, that's all you can do is just keep putting yourself in that position.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I think
close,
we're there. We're there. I don't have. It's not one of those things where I don't have hope we're never going to get one. Because we keep the ball when you get the right bounce. You just got to be good enough to be there, and we are. So
yeah, I'm like you. I like football. I like basketball, but it's Tar Heel baseball for me, man. That's what drives.
Really picked up for me because I was never a baseball.
That's
fan
what drives
the last few years.
Yeah, I played Little League baseball, and rec league or whatever you want to call it in Durham local, up until probably 6th grade maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I quit playing baseball because then I started wrestling. And I didn't do both. But I've still always loved baseball.
Yeah.
Love following. And it's a fun game.
If I didn't live 3 hours away, I would have season tickets and be there for every game.
Season tickets are not a bad deal. They went up in price this past year. A decent bit from what they had been, but people were talking about prior to that. People were talking, not being able to get tickets for the regionals and stuff. It's not it's a little bit different now because again they went up in price, so it's not as bad as they were. But just to have dibs on your seat for regionals and supers, to have season tickets previously wasn't, even if you couldn't make some of the games. Again, prices have gone up, and I don't have the number. I don't remember the number straight off my head, but they did go up a decent bit this past year. But yeah.
Well,
yeah, I applied.
Oh, go ahead.
I applied for my regional tickets and super regional tickets and got denied both times.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to get. Of course, you're guaranteed if you're a season ticket holder, you're guaranteed your tickets. Now they'll tell you if you have. There's a section or so closer going down the first base towards first base. That they'll tell you, if you have season tickets here, you might not get those same. You'll get seats, but you're not necessarily you're not assured those season tickets for regionals and supers because that could be that's one of the sections that could factor into the allotment of the opposing teams.
Right.
So, hey, year before last, I was in one of those sections, and it was 106, and I still got my seats for the regionals. I was able to keep my seats. Now, what I tried to do is I tried to get additional seats. I tried to get additional tickets, and I got denied on that. And pretty much everybody, unless you were like high dollar Rams Club, high dollar Diamond Heels Club, you weren't getting additionals at that point either. That was Vance's last year.
Yeah.
Now this past year I moved over, so I'm in 107, so I'm a little closer to home, but a little closer to home plate, and which I like better because you can actually. It's not right behind home plate when you can't really see where the ball is. you got a good enough side angle that you can get a pretty good shot at ball or strike. Truthfully,
Yeah.
So, and and again, it's a good if you like to be on camera, it's a good place to be on camera because you get,
Yeah,
the camera kind of likes areas like that. Throw a big white beard on that looks goofy, and
we was
recipe
there for
recipe for being on
game
TV.
1 and 2.
Okay.
And I think game 1, Nathan texted me. He was like, "Man, you've been on TV a lot," but we was on the third base side.
Yeah, that's another good one. That side is good too, though. There's that, especially right there under where the museum is.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good section too. Yeah, that section gets a good amount of play too for TV. So
yeah, Joey Powell had some pretty outstanding moments on TV.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're on modern sports right now, so we'll ask you this one, and then we'll get you out of here. Obviously, we're in middle football season right now, and it came into all the drama, all the headlines have been that now we have Bill Belichick on the sidelines. He is here. He's our head coach. We've played 2 games now, 1-1. What's your expectations for Bill Belichick and this North Carolina football squad, however long you think his tenure will be?
I wasn't one of those people. Now, coming into it, of course, it's easy to say, to be hopeful. And, I think somebody had asked a prediction for the season and, kind of, oh, yeah, we're going to do it. I would say 9-3 or something. Realistically, that's, you got to consider he's got to build it, man. He's got to build it. And you got 70 new guys. It's been talked about. It's been talked about ad nauseum since the TCU game. I think if you wholeheartedly believed that we were just going to run it hit the first year, I don't know what to tell you. You were fooling yourself, and that's you were. I like your, that's more positivity than I got, quite honestly. It's reality. You gotta tinge everything. You gotta step into reality every once in a while. The one of the things, and I've said it a few times, other places. I think the one thing I'm looking for this year, is just how well is being better coached. That's the one thing I want to see. I know when you're realistic about it, we're still in a little bit. We got some good guys. We do. We got some studs, but top to bottom roster, 2 deep everywhere. We're building that, and that takes time. You look at 70 new guys. We got some good guys. You look at the recruiting class right now coming in. The next class. It's getting there. We're flipping guys. And the schools that lose the guys go, oh, they weren't going to come here anyway. We don't need them. Yeah, right. Okay. Whatever. Florida State said that. I think they were saying that about, or not Florida State. They were talking about Drake and Sam and stuff when they got flipped from Alabama and Florida State. How'd that work? They were great quarterbacks. We wasted them, but that's a whole nother topic that I won't get into. Bottom line, they were still talented, and the schools they went to still wanted them, whether they said it or not, because they would have been set, and they would have probably utilized them better than we did. Again, going back to it, the one thing I really want to see this year is the improvement in coaching, is being well coached, and disciplined. Not having the stupid penalties and a lot of those, especially the dumb, just lose your mind, personal foul type stuff that, we, towards the end of the Fedora era, we saw there was a lot of during the end of that last year, with Fedora, we had a lot of that stuff, and that's, we need to tighten that up. It's getting there. I said, I was telling somebody else the other day, the last thing the last thing I said to them with all that is Rome wasn't built in a day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, it's going to take some time. I mean, that's the thing. I will say this, and that's all I want to see. I mean, that my expectations are not to my realistic expectations are to honestly just improve. I mean, just show some improvement, week by week, and some progress with the talent we do have and the guys we do have, getting the most out of them, developing them. That's another problem we've had in years past is lack of development once we got here. We've gotten guys that were studs by rankings, and that's another thing too, that recruiting people get caught up in the stars and everything in the rankings. That's not everything. All 5 stars aren't created equal. A 5-star at a 1A school, I hate to see stuff like that. I hate to see a highly ranked guy from a real small school, because you don't ever quite know. Maybe sometimes they are good, don't get me wrong, but you never quite know what they've had to play against, and oftentimes it's just too much of a case of man amongst boys. I just want to see the improvement, and I want to see some progress, and I want to see week by week that I feel like we're being coached better and we're getting better in that aspect of things. And it's slower progress than people want, because everybody wants it to turn around overnight. But again, if you're being realistic about it, it's just not going to happen like that.
Right.
So, and people have talked. I mean, we already got the coaching. We got questions on staff stuff already going on, that I would just say, kind of let it see how it plays, man. See how it plays. It doesn't look good so far. Nobody will say it does.
Better throw the
Right.
kitchen sink at
That's
it.
for sure.
Nobody will claim it does, but it's also what we got, because I'll say that it's what we have. I think the likelihood of a change like that midseason is very slim. So we just gotta hope for the improvement, and to that end, the positivity comes back in to say, there's enough noise and enough people saying you stink, blah blah blah. They don't need me to say it. So I'm just gonna keep doing my thing. And again, I'm not being unrealistic, and I'm not saying I'm happy with it. That's another thing I've gotten over the positivity piece. I've had people say, "Well, you're just happy with mediocrity." No, I'm not. But I'm not putting the negativity out in the air for everybody, because there's enough of that there.
Right.
So and again, if you do that, that's fine. That's how you do it. That's how you fan. It worried me for a while. It bothered me for a while about how people fanned, and you don't fan like I fan, and you really shouldn't be going personally at the athletes themselves. That's student athletes themselves. That's trash. Don't do that. I mean, don't go with their families. I mean, you can be unhappy. You can be unhappy, but just there's enough of that. There's hard enough on themselves. They're hard enough on themselves. Nobody. You don't want to win more than they do. They're putting the blood, sweat, and tears in there, and it goes with every sport. I mean, we're talking football, but I'm talking everything. So.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
I mean,
I'm looking forward to seeing what they do this year. As the project continues to build game by game, like Saturday against Richmond, I'm excited to see what they do there. See how they look on in UCF and Clemson. So
I will say, yeah. And again, like I said, I'm not the X and O guy. I've never been somebody that can break down and look at stuff like that. I've never been a student of the game to that level. But Richmond is one of those games that we want to see. We want to see some improvement, right? We'd prefer not to. Win's a win, but nobody's. I mean, you want to win. Win's a win, but nobody's really happy with 17 points over Charlotte, right? Let's be real.
Right.
I mean, we need more. So it's just about improvement, because then you start looking at it, and then we go down to Florida, and that's when we're going to really find. I mean, that's going to be what we're really find what we got. And I know people say, I know we've got a pretty weak schedule this year overall, but We got Clemson coming to town beginning of October.
Yeah. Looking forward to that one. That'll be the next big measuring stick game that North Carolina's had since TCU. It will be that Clemson game. And Keenan, just like TCU was. And Keenan, how far have they come? Clemson hasn't looked the greatest. We'll see how they do over the next couple of weeks. They got at Georgia Tech and Syracuse.
Yeah, we had them a few years ago, and went for it on the 2-point conversion to try to take it down and take them down and win it instead of tie it, which I thought was a fine call. I mean, what do you got to lose? Didn't necessarily like play call on that one if we're good, but I'm not talking, but
Yeah, I didn't like the play call either. It's okay.
I didn't like the play call on that one, but I didn't have a problem. I didn't have a problem with taking the shot because nobody expects you to be there. I didn't want to go to overtime with them. I 100% don't. I didn't want to go to overtime, so just take your shot. Like I said, I would have rather had a better, different play to take it with, but it is what it is.
Well, Jeff, we just had a great time tonight, man. This was amazing. We were so thankful that you came out here and hung out with us and talked with us. And you've given us a lot of, dude. You got some stories. You got some things that, I mean, Carolina fans just dream about, dude. You lived it, bro.
I mean, I hope. Anybody that watches this, I hope it was. I hope they liked it. I will say, if you have the ability, anybody that watches this, if you have the ability, go to anything Carolina you can. Experience it, man. Go. We got, like I said, sports on campus, man. We're so good in so many things. Just experience it, man. Go to Karen Shelton, go to Dorrance Field, go to Carmichael to watch we play several things there. Go to any of them. Volleyball. Definitely catch volleyball if you can. Shout out to Coach Shaw on the team. Again, we weren't on air for that before, but I did rep the volleyball shirt tonight because that was a huge win last night. And I missed being there because my daughter had a high school game. But we haven't missed any volleyball in the last few years. That program is, and I think I said this before off the air too. But I'm a big, even more so fan of the smaller sports, the Olympic sports that people don't necessarily hear so much about, or pay enough attention to. But wrestling is probably my favorite sport because I did it growing up. Volleyball is probably my second because my kid lives it now, so I live it. But then baseball's, probably right there. So it's a tough thing. Those are my three favorites, which are not the norms. But yeah, check it out. Anybody listen to this, check it out, man. A lot of those sports, some of them are still free. Some of them are still free to go to. Ticket prices even for the ones now that they've started selling tickets for the last couple of years, like wrestling and volleyball, are still. It's $10 or $15. It's a good time, man. It's a good time.
You can't beat it with a stick for $15.
No, you really can't, and you can't. Just check it out. It's good. It's you get an appreciation and see what some of these other teams are doing. What the other teams are doing that deserve our attention as fans too, right? And again, that's why I do a lot of what I do on Twitter about putting out everything and results for stuff and how things are doing, is because I like to focus on everything, and I hope to kind of bring that to everybody else, so maybe they'll pay attention to it if they didn't so much before. So check it out,
man. This has been awesome. Honestly, dude, you've done that with me for sure. Being able to bring a lot of the stuff that you posted to our attention. You've kept me informed on a lot of things. Like, I wouldn't know what's really going on with our pro heels, especially like on the baseball teams right now, if it wasn't for you, honestly. And that's a legit thing. Like, I look forward to see that.
Well, and that's another story that indulge me this then, I guess, since I know we were already trying to wrap. But there was an account on Twitter, and I've never called it X. Don't ever ask me to call it X. There's an account on
same way.
It's Twitter. I get it. I don't
Twitter.
have. It's just what I've always called it. So it's just. So there was an account on Twitter that did that. and they did that it was Pro Diamond Heels or whatever, and they would post all that. And I love that account. I mean, when they were still posting, I was retweeting that every day and every day and every day. And then they left and exclusively went to Blue Sky, and dropped off and everything like that. And I went through like the whole, that was last year, sometime last year, I guess. I don't remember. But I went through the whole part of this year, like up until what? Up until a month ago, maybe. I think it was like a month ago. And I sat there one night and I just happened to, I was like, I really, and I tweeted out, I said, man, I really miss that Pro Diamond Hills account. Maybe I ought to start picking that up and doing that. And a couple of people said, yeah, you should. Yeah, you should. And then I was like, okay. It's a lot of work. I mean,
I bet so, dude.
I've got notifications set up on my phone to keep up with the home runs, because I like to try to put the yard tweets out there when they hit a home run. I like to put those out real time if I can. So I've got notification stuff going on, and then after that, just going back the next day, and some at that same night, but some the next day early or as early as I can, just going through the box scores and having to go all through them and compile everything. But you know what? It's been fun. I mean, I've had a blast with it. And it gets, it might get one retweet and a couple likes, but it's just fun doing it, and I like keeping up with it, and that way I know how everybody's doing.
Yeah,
that's awesome, man.
Keep me informed.
It's just like I said, it's work, and it probably doesn't get a lot of run and play on it, but I do it more for myself than anything else, and just share it out there for anybody that cares, because I like to keep up with it.
Hey, but we can end it on a positive, Jeff. How about those Braves?
Oh man. Oh man. That's I'm still paying. I still keep up and pay attention, and still, that's the thing. I'll still watch it because I'm that kind of fan. I don't give up on stuff. I don't leave games early or anything like that. But I'll endure I'm a glutton for punishment. So if I'm gonna be with you, I'm gonna be with you during the high times. I'm gonna ride during the low times, and it's one of those things. I mean, Braves are being picked as one of the going into the season as one of the favorites for the World Series. Injuries and everything else, man.
Yeah.
Again, but it's
I'll just hop on Twitter, and all of a sudden, just from Jeff, you get a Braves L tweet, and that's it. Out.
Yeah. Yeah. And again, but it goes back to the whole baseball and the Diamond Hills and winning the CWS. Baseball is a fickle game. It's a hard game. I mean, it's probably. It might be the hardest. It really might be the hardest when it comes down to it. I mean, what else? As a hitter, what else can you do if you do something successfully 3 out of 10 times?
Yeah,
and you're great. That says
round
something.
ball, round bat.
If you're hitting 300, if you hit 3 out of 10 times and you have managed to get a hit, you're great. You're great at what you do. Not just okay.
Right.
That speaks volumes to how tough that game. And again, it's just a thing. So, but Braves again. Braves is one of those things I've been through the terrible years too. So,
yeah,
up
their
and down.
organization just doesn't make sense to me. And it's not a Braves podcast, but I mean, Dansby Swanson.
Right now, no. The choices on what to do right now have been kind of baffling.
I mean, Dansby is a Georgia kid, and you trade him away, or you let him go sign with the Cubs.
Yeah.
Max Fried, you let him go to the Yankees. I understand Freddie. He's from LA. I understand that.
Well, Freddie's a whole nother story. I mean, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I could go off for a while on that.
I love
Freddie really. I truly believe Freddie truly wanted to be a Brave and wanted to stay there. I think that was driven. I think that move was driven by someone other than him. If you want to, just my opinion. I think it was driven by somebody other than him. Because I think he wanted to be like Chipper and be a Brave lifer.
Yeah.
So You know,
And I
there's
like Matt
always,
Olson. I have his jersey.
Oh, he's good. Yeah. Oh, he's been fine. I mean, he's been fine. No complaints there really with him. So again,
Yeah.
it's baseball, man. Baseball's crazy. So it's a crazy game.
It is, and I don't keep up with the pros at all. I've never been a pro baseball guy. College baseball, I'll watch that all day. But Jeff, man, it's been a good time sitting here chit chatting with you. You are always welcome back on the Hill Brothers, man. We'd always love to hop on here and get your comments on stuff, dude. You are a wealth of insight, North Carolina, and man, we have absolutely. I've had a great time tonight, dude. Absolutely,
I've had a great
hopefully,
time.
since I'm gonna be up there in Chapel Hill a whole bunch this season, we'll have to come by and swing by and just say what's up at the tailgate. Give me some beef jerky and some water and then the protein.
There's beer mixed in there too. I mean, obviously, but I'm just not as young as I used to be. Now, and like I said, I hope this has been. I hope it's I hope it turns out all right. Basically, I hope anybody pays attention, enjoyed it, and I managed to put a couple coherent thoughts together and didn't have complete stream of consciousness spew out everywhere like my mind typically goes. But yeah, it's been fun. Like I said, if anything comes up, yeah. Give me a holler. If there's anything that comes up that there's maybe something that you want to talk about or holler about, future episode.
Absolutely.
It's fun. Yeah.
Anytime.
Absolutely, brother. We will keep you in mind.
Well,
but anyway, hopefully you guys have enjoyed this.
If there's a time that you just want to come on here and just like absolute rage, we're here for it, baby.
Yeah, let the rage out.
We don't have
let the rage out, bro.
We don't
can be your rage outlet, dude.
We ain't a
you know how many people do you know how many people that probably truly get annoyed by my positivity would love to see that probably.
Oh, I could only imagine. Imagine.
Exclusively on the Hill Brothers.
I've had folks send me messages in the past also that say, man, I don't know how you're so positive, but I appreciate it. So but again, I know that there are probably people praying for my downfall when it comes to the rage that would love to see me just go off. But
we won't put it out on the air then.
If you want to do that, just put a dash cam in my truck and watch me drive anywhere these days because I'm real close to. I probably compensate by almost going road rage on people on a daily basis. So that's my rage probably outlet at this point. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying that's probably why I get it out, and I can actually have that outlet yell in my truck because somebody's driving like an idiot.
There are a lot of.
I keep it cool for sports. I keep it cool for sports that way. So
that's all that matters.
Anyway, man, I don't know. Yeah. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate y'all.
Anyway, thank you guys so much.
Appreciate the invitation, man. Good talk to y'all.
Dude. We appreciate you, dude.
Yeah, man. Go Heels.
Go Heels.
As always, man. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Be sure to go follow Jeff Blackwood over there on Twitter. What's all your social medias that they can go follow you there? Is Twitter just your main one?
Twitter's my main one. My Instagram, my ad is the same. It's the JSB Tar Heel 95, but my Instagram is private because I do a little more family stuff. So I'm more selective on who I let in there, honestly.
Right.
So
that's good to to have that.
Understandable.
Yeah. So I'll put more.
Go follow him over there on Twitter.
I've always tried to be careful about. I've done it occasionally, but I have even though my kids are getting a little older now and they're they're 15 and 19, will be 16 and 20 at the end of this year.
Yeah.
I try to keep it. Oh, that was another story. Okay, that's a story for another time. I'm not going to go into it now because we're trying to close it off. I don't want to do it now because we're closing it off. That's the story for the next time. My kids dates years of birth. That's a good story. That gets a laugh.
Okay. We're gonna keep that. We're gonna lock that in for the next time that Jeff joins us over here.
Nothing else to tell that story. But yeah. So yeah, I've always I do it occasionally with posting kids pictures, but I try most of that stuff is on Instagram. I don't do it on Twitter. So.
Right.
Because people are messed up these days, and I don't know.
Cool.
You're right.
Sounds good, man. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you all for being here. Be sure to go check him out over there on Twitter. It has been a great time. Thank you all for being here. And as always,
go Heels.
Go Heels.
Go Heels.